Hey guys, Dr. J here, and I wanted to give you guys a quick video about how to access InSAR interferograms. For those of you that are doing InSAR data analysis, you're going to want to be able to access and download interferograms for your study area that are going to be different from the interferograms that we used, of course, for the lab. So there's a couple of ways to do this, depending on where you are looking at. I'm going to show you one way, which is going to be applicable to everywhere. Maybe I'll just briefly say there is a product called the ARIA S1 GunW products. And if you click on those are in a limited number of locations. And in fact, they are primarily in California. There are a few in other places around the world. I think there's a few in Guatemala, Hawaii, and then the Eastern Seaboard. And if we were to come in here and put let me just make a quick square, then you would see the products pop up. These are the ARIA products that are available. And these are already processed interferograms. And so you can kind of see them pop up there. So that's fine. You can use ARIA products if you happen to be working in an area where they are already processed, but the ARIA products are not everywhere. And so what we're going to do is instead, we're going to do something called on-demand processing. And let me just quickly change my dates here. So I'll just pick a couple of months, and in general, this is going to be what you want to do. Don't take too long of a date span, or it's going to be difficult for you to process those in time. You're going to pick L1 single look complex, and then you'll say update. And so then what the website is going to do is it's going to bring up Sentinel-1 products for your study area, which are available for the time period of interest. And then what you're going to want to do is pick out one particular frame, and you can click on that frame and see the information about it depending on where you are. So I can click around here, and that'll update the information here. And the key information you're going to want is the path and frame. And so there's that. And then you can filter down by that path and frame. What was that? 77 and 117. So I'm going to say 77 and 117. And that will show me my one frame. So now I can see, okay, I've got 4 products for those that 2-month time period. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this SBAS function. Now, if I were to download these SLC products, that would work as well, but you would have to use some really advanced InSAR processing techniques to be able to handle that. I don't want you to have to go through that, so we're going to click on SBAS here, and we're going to have ASF do our processing for us. Now, again, how this is going to work is I'm going to come here, and I'm going to zoom in on my time period. So I need to zoom in on the specific time period that I was interested in, which in this case is just going to be these first few months of 2025. And again, you can take a longer time. You may need or want to take a longer time depending on your project, what you need. I'm going to take a fairly short period of time because maybe I'm interested in an earthquake or a landslide, something that happened fairly quickly. If you're interested in processes that are slower, take more time, you'll want to have a longer time period, but you'll want to try to be careful about how many interferograms you get. So for example, if I wanted to do a longer time period, maybe I would back this up to do a year or so of data, or yeah, let me go back to March. If I go back to March and get a year of data, then you'll see those interferograms populate in this graph. And on this graph, the dots are the individual satellite acquisitions, and the blue lines here are interferograms. I'm actually going to make this come down to 24. That'll make me have a few less products there. And now I see I've got 51 pairs. That's not too bad. Each one of these items over here, each one of these items in this list is an interferogram. And then and that corresponds to one of these blue lines here in this graph. So I'm pretty happy with this. I've got connections between all my dates. I've got all my interferograms here. I'm going to come up here to queue, and I'm going to say add 28 files. Nope, sorry, not to queue, on demand. And I'm going to click on InSAR Gamma, add 51 SLC pairs. So now I've added those pairs to my on-demand queue. I can come up here to the on-demand queue, click on that, and then you'll see the whole list of files there. Now what I want to do is I want to pick out what my parameters are. I'm going to pick out just the default parameters here. I'm going to set MintPy options. So that's going to include the DEM and the look vectors that will allow me to do my post-processing. And then I'm going to say submit 51 jobs. Now you'll see I have 0 credits left this month because I've already done a bunch of processing on another project. But here you would, and by the way, you'll need to sign in for this. So you'll need to create an account on ASF. And then once you do that, you sign in, you'll be able to submit 51 jobs. It will pop up a little box and say, what do you want to call this job? Please go ahead and submit. And then you'll click submit and that will run the job. Now, once you run the job, and actually I'm going to go ahead and clear these out. Once you run the job, it'll take a little bit of time. Might take a day to run your jobs and process them. But then when that happens, I'm going to log back into ASF. I'm going to come here to submitted products. And that's going to take me to this page. And this page now, here on the lower left, is all the products that I've submitted. And I can see there's different interferograms. You can actually see the picture of the interferograms down here. If I pull this up a little bit, there we go. You can kind of see how that looks. And I can click through and see the different products. And so this is where you'll come then to download your products. And so what I'll do now is I'll come here to the queue, add all my results to downloads. And you'll see I've got a lot more than 51 here because this is from the other job that I had processed. I'll add these files to downloads. I'll come over here to downloads. And now here's all my downloads. Now for you guys, if you just have a few files, maybe less than a dozen, you can go ahead and just say data download. Just download all. If you have hundreds of products like this, then you're not going to want to do that. You're going to want to use a Python script to download the files because that's going to allow you to, that'll take care of any internet dropouts that you have or anything like that. But if you just have a few files, a dozen or maybe a couple of dozen, you can go ahead and download all. That'll download those files to your computer. And then what you want to do, let's take a look at how these files look. So now this is what it looks like once I've downloaded my files. Actually, when the files download, they will download as zip files. So what I've done is I've unzipped all the files, and now I've got a bunch of folders here. And each one of these folders is going to have a bunch of files inside it. You can see that there's lots and lots of files. The exact files is going to look different for you depending on those options that you select when you do the processing. But the key thing here is that you're going to want to grab these unwrapped phase.tiff files. unwphase.tiff. Each folder has one of those files in it. So there it is there. There it is there. And what you'll want to do is collect all these UNW phase files, that's your unwrapped phase files, and stick them into a folder by itself. So in this case, we would create a folder right here. I would call this folder, I can call this unwrapped phase. You're going to then grab this file called unwrapped phase. I can just click copy, come over here to unwrapped phase and click paste. And that'll drop that file into there. And then what you'll want to do is you'll want to take all of your unwrapped phase TIFF files from each one of your folders and put that into your unwrapped phase folder. So then you'll have a whole bunch of files in here. Okay, so now I've got a few unwrapped phase files in my unwrapped phase folder. And then now here's where I'm going to go back over to the Lab 4 notebook. And this is where the Lab 4 notebook takes over. So Lab 4 assumes that you have some folder somewhere on your computer, which is called unwrapped phase. And then it's going to use the data inside that folder, which is a bunch of TIFF files. And it's going to load in the data. It's going to get all those products that you have there and then do the time series processing. So at this point, you'll be able to start in with Lab 4 and just follow those same steps that you did for Lab 4. Okay, so that is it. That's what I wanted to walk you through, just the process of downloading those files from the ASF website. So again, you can use the ARIA products if you want, but really the easiest thing is just to do the on-demand processing for whatever your area is. Download those folders. You'll get a whole bunch of folders like this. You just copy the unwrapped phase TIFF files into a single unwrapped phase folder, and then you start in with the Lab 4 assignment, and you can walk through that Lab 4 using your new unwrapped phase folder. So that should get you through whatever InSAR processing that you want to do.